Hello, everybody. Thank you again for joining us today. I am so excited to have with me is one of our amazing speakers and guests. And to take the moment to formally introduce her, she writes, speaks, teaches, and coaches on and how to shift perceptions and live towards infinite possibilities. She shares that what we perceive to be reality magnifies. This means that shifting our perceptions is the only way to make the permanent changes that we desire. Her intent is to make rewriting the stories of our lives easy, joyful, and practical. She is also the author of a nonfiction, The Shift series, books based on her system called The Shift, which began officially teaching in 1992. So it's been around for a while.
Been around.
Yes. So please help me welcome, without further ado, Beca Lewis to the show. Hi, Becca. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate the invitation. I love sharing. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And so, yes, with that, let's start right away with diving in. What is your story, Becca, and what inspired you to do what you do today?
It's such a big question, if you really think about it. It's like
Absolutely
my story. I think I've always been inspired what I do today. I think that in general, we all have a mission, and I mean a mission in quotes, that we said somehow that when we got here into this place, we would do it. And I think mine has always been to shift perceptions, because somewhere early in my life, I realized that if I changed the way I thought about something, the world changed outside me. And then through the years, it became obvious and other people started talking about it and I started teaching it. And so I don't think I've ever not done it, even though I've done hundreds of other jobs. But all those jobs and all those professions really proved to me that it's perception, that it's our perception. It's not your perception. It's mine, yours, for you. So I wanted to be a person that can make up ways that people could actually do it, because I'm not a fan of saying, oh, this is how it works, and then I don't know how to do it. I really want to know, okay, and then what do you do? So now what? So that's what I've always wanted to do, one way or another.
So it sounds like you always knew that you wanted to help others, right? To overcome certain things, especially when it comes to not knowing how to do something. But I think that's also interesting too, is I've been doing these series for a while now, and it looks like the type of people who are entrepreneur like ourselves, we love problem solving.
Yes. Well, you better, because if there's always something you have to figure out. That's like one of those little, do you want to do this? There's a lot to figure out. Yes, you have to like it in some way.
Yes. And interestingly, that's exactly what business is all about as well, is no matter what kind of product or service that we provide, it has to help solve a problem, right?
Yes.
A consumer, the person has. And that's interesting. That's why I wanted to hone into that part of the conversation today, because as the audience are watching, of course, we have a small percentage of people who are on the fence if they want to start their business, or if they should even continue after a couple of hard years of the pandemic, etc. If they should even keep going. But the reality is, it's not so much the profit that we want to always focus on. Yes, when we have a business to make money ultimately, but what we teach here, and I'm sure you would agree with us here too, that is more about the purpose and not the profit, because we have problems to solve, and one after another, and the bigger the business, the bigger the problems, and etc. So we have to be more connected to our purpose, otherwise it wouldn't get us through, because business is a long run, right? It's an overnight success like it seems like. And most of us are getting pretty savvy on the fact that if someone looks successful, like on the outside, we always now ask like, I wonder, if there's anything.
Yeah.
So part of our series is really to flip that puzzle on its head in a way of, yes, you do see really many successful women. At the same time, I will also want to share the other side of things too, where we have to problem solve, where we have to overcome challenges, right? So could you also share with us, Becca, I know you're successful, you're now an author and you have different programs for your clients, etc. Can you share with us a couple of challenges that you had to overcome personally or professionally in your business to be where you are today?
You know, I think it's daily that you have to.
I love the honest answer. It's true.
It's really daily. It's like, I could just things that happened today that I went, oh, geez, I didn't want that to happen today. So I have to move it forward into another day or do it differently. But I think you're really talking about big challenges. But I think that it's the little challenges that add up to the big challenges. So the more I coach people and the more I teach, the more I realize people don't really have a problem with a big challenge. If you say, well, you have to learn this and it will take you 4 years to learn it, they go, oh, okay. But it's something that they don't want to do. Maybe they don't want to learn how to turn on their phone apps, or they don't get how what we're doing works. So, or they don't want to get on video, which all of us go through, right? Like, oh, don't put me on that video. So you have to get over all that stuff. So every little thing is a challenge, but definitely I've gone through all the big challenges like divorce, and my husband took my children once and kidnapped them. So I didn't know where they were. I've been in multiple different kinds of businesses, mostly male dominated businesses where I'm the little woman really, and had to perform within that business. So I can see big challenges, but almost always it's a little thing that we don't know how to do, or we don't believe that we're good at, or someone said, well, you're terrible at that, so don't even bother. I think the challenges come really every day. Do I get up today and do I do this thing, even though I don't know if I'm going to make a profit, as you said, money profit, because profit isn't money that as you were saying, but will I make a money profit? Will this person be mad at me because I'm putting it out there? I think those are the challenges that keep people from doing things. The big challenges, they're there. The little challenges, you don't realize how many of them you have every day, and you still have to do it anyway.
Yeah, no, I think you're really raising a different, I guess, level of awareness, right?
Yes.
And it's certainly, when I was asking you that question, I was leaning towards the bigger challenges, but it's really true that the bigger challenges is just basically a sum of the smaller challenges.
Yes. Yes, and a lot of it's a perception of what we think about ourselves. I always joke this about my mom. My mom is like 96, you have to give her grace, but she has refused her entire life to do anything computer-wise, even though she was a secretary when she was 18. So it's not like she didn't know how, but refused. So she's never let herself believe that she's smart enough to figure it out, even though everybody wants to teach her. So that's an obvious thing, but we all have little things like, we say, I don't know how to do this. I've never known how to do it. I don't get it. No one can explain it to me. And then we don't do the big thing that we want to do. So finding that help, I think, is a community like what you do, any kind of community that will help you learn those little tiny things, or step the path with you and say, well, it's okay. I'll teach you and I'll walk with you while you figure it out. I think that's the part that makes a big difference.
Yes, community. I mean, I have to for sure attest to that. Like, if it wasn't for a community, I wouldn't be where I am today. I mean, I wouldn't be, having this conversation, or I wouldn't even have the courage to reach out to you. I mean, it could, and once upon a time, that was always the fear when we were going out, like posting and sharing our first show. It was like, wow, how am I in the world will get 21, experts to even agree to give their time, things like that. So it's amazing that unless we can learn to overcome the smaller challenges, then when we're faced with, I feel like, in the sake of our conversation, when we're faced with the bigger challenges, then it's like the normal. It's like, okay, it's like you talked about your divorce or your ex-husband kidnapping your kids, as if it was just one of the other challenges. Like it's
It just
no big
was.
deal.
Yeah. I had to figure it out. But I think that what you're saying makes a big difference, that it's the end of that you said you didn't know how this was going to happen. You weren't sure it would work, but you had a bigger reason for doing it.
Right.
And I know that every day you say, I do this for someone other than me. And I think that is probably how you become successful, when you realize that it's not for you. It's great when it comes back to you, but it's for someone else. So every day I wake up and I say, just like everybody else, I do not want to do that today. And then I think, yeah, but there's people counting on me.
Right.
So I'm going to do it anyway. And I think that's one of the big secrets on getting things done, or going through those
100%.
challenges.
Yes, yes, yes. I always have felt, well, first of all, what I do is definitely some type of a calling, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I'm special. I don't think I'm that much smarter than any of the other experts and things like that. And I don't think I have all the answers. However, you're right. The drive and knowing that I'm a part of something bigger than myself,
Mhm.
which I'm like, I don't even have the intellect to grasp, but I just know that I'm supposed to be doing this, is definitely what like gets me up, every single day. Absolutely. That's why it gets me to record a podcast when I don't feel like it. It gets me to show up, do a live teaching in my Facebook group when I'm like, I just rather go to the pool today.
Yes.
And things
Read
like
a book, something. Don't make me. Yes. But you'll do it anyway, because if you change one person's life, then you've, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, if one life breathes easier because you were there, then you're a success. And I think that's what we're talking about. Then you're wealthy.
Yes.
Then you have profit. That's the profit.
100%. Yeah, I think you've got it right. There is, yeah, it's what define your own personality, not personality, your own version, your own definition of success, right? Because it's subjective. I mean, successful for me would be an incredible mom. Like, I mean, if I know I'm a great mom, that's like, I'm halfway there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's one thing that entrepreneurs need to still keep in mind, is that purpose is definitely much bigger than the profits that comes with it.
Yes.
And I think ultimately it's also what you are teaching too, is the perception that we have of ourselves.
Yes, and the world. So, and the perceptions that we carry for ourselves, we've accepted. Someone else has said it to us, or we grew up in a family that said that is about us, or the worldview says this, and then we say, oh, that's my perception. But the weird thing about perceptions is they filter everything. So if you say that and you say, well, the world is a place full of pain and sorrow, then the world is full of pain and sorrow, because it filters that and gives you what you believe. So as soon as you can shift your perception to something better than that, whatever that is. I mean, I try to go to the biggest one I can think of. Not that I understand it, but I try to go to the biggest one I could think of, the best one I could think of. But if any better perception, it will shift things, because that's the way it works. And you have to bring your feelings into it too. You can't say it intellectually and go, oh, the world is fantastic. And then you go home and go, but it's terrible. It's like, okay, that won't work. You have to bring both of them together. And that's why I love tools to do that. I love the process of making ways to change my perception, because I'm like everybody else. It's a struggle for me too. I have to go, oh yeah, I got to change my perception about that.
Right. So since we're right on top of it, Becca, share with us like one practical tool, right? Because you're all about getting practical and people can actually apply. So what's one tool that they can use right away to change the perception on a particular area of their life?
Okay, this is so easy because I don't have to like give you a form or anything. You can just say it in your head.
Right.
So it's called an I choose sheet. I call it an I choose sheet because you can write on a piece of paper. But I used to do these when, boring people were talking and when I was working, and I would write, while they were talking, and I would be writing because you don't have to actually be able to read it. So what you say to yourself is I choose. So let's say I choose to have more time for my family. Let's say you choose that. And then you listen to this voice in your head, which isn't you, but it pretends to be you. And it says, oh, Dee Dee, you can't do that. You've got 5,000 things to do today and you have no extra time. Don't write that part down. Write down what you choose next. So you choose, I choose to have more time. So you're still shifting your perception. And then it might say, well, you can choose that all you want, but it's still not going to work. I choose to have it work. And then it might say to you, but you're an idiot because you think you can do that. And you say, I choose to have it work. So you keep shifting your perception, and you can write that I choose sheet for, I used to do, yellow pads.
Hours, because the voice is there for hours, right? Like, yes, I'm like, well, yes, I choose to have it work. And like, who do you think that's going to work? Well, I choose to think like I'm the person that will have it work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right. You just keep shifting that. And eventually day, hours later, days later, go, that voice in my head might still be there, but it's so quiet that you can barely hear it. And then you can just tear that sheet up and throw it away because you do not need to look at it again. But it's something you can do all the time, all the time. You don't need any tools. You don't need anybody to help you with. You just do it. So, but write it. Don't type it, write it. So something about the head, brain, So.
Yeah. The way we process different, I think coming from a cognitive psychology background is we process things differently when it's handwritten and it's connected to like body, mind, spirit. Almost, right. We use different parts of the brain when we're typing versus when we're writing and have to really intellectually do it. Yeah.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. And it's great. So where do you think, I mean, like you've been in business for a long while, where do you feel like the new, I guess, I feel like we're in like the era that the women is like the future, right? And so what is your vision with us women in business, and what's next for you, for Beca Lewis?
Oh, you're right. It's the women's time. It's always been the women's time. We just didn't believe it. But now I think there is that essence that we go, yes, we have it. So the way I see women succeeding is to not try to be men. There's nothing wrong with men, but don't try to be a man. And I mean that feminine and masculine way. So if men did this too, it would be fantastic. So you go within, you discover within what your reasons are. And yes, that might take a little while. What's the reason why you want to do this? But you got to find that first. And then you listen to that. And then the male part of yourself, because we all have male parts of ourselves, goes and does it. But we've been backwards and we go, I'm going to go do that. And then we think, why is this not working? I don't feel good. I didn't see my kids for 5 days. I don't like this, because we did the male thing first. If everybody, male and female, did the female thing first, and then let the male do the male part of ourselves, because I do all my stuff. So I'm not saying you have to have a man to do it, but I have to ask myself first, what is it you really want, Becca? Why are you doing it? And then I have to listen for that answer and then do something about it, not the reverse. And I guess what's next for me? I guess I'm just going to keep doing that. I write fiction and nonfiction books, but even my fiction books are about, the last series that I finished writing is, or not finished, but I'm in the series. It's about women who together, they changed their lives. So yes, it's got mystery and all the good stuff that make a good story, but it's still about women and how women, instead of acting like men, acted like women and supported each other, and without the competition, without the need to win, just the need to support each other. Kind of makes me want to cry when I think about it. So I just want to keep doing that in writing and teaching, and I'm doing a lot of I'm putting together some evergreen classes. So that's my future.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I think it's really important. And I don't know, I'm like very close to even making it like our next topic for the next show, is that so many of us women feel like they have to be that type A or that go-getter or that like not like no nonsense type of personality just to make it and just to prove ourselves. But the reality is no, we
No,
can be successful being who we are, whether
exactly.
we're more feminine or more masculine, or we speak a certain way, whatever it may be. And I think honoring ourselves in the process and being who we are is so important. And
It
I mean,
is.
I can't stress that enough. I mean, for those of you who are listening, entrepreneurship is all about being authentic and true to who you are, because
Absolutely.
ultimately it's going to break. If you're, I'm just saying it, and you, Becca is nodding her head because she's in agreement, that if you're not connected to it, if you're not being yourself in your business, it's not going to be successful. It's not going to
No,
be pretty. It's going to be a drag. It's going to drive you down to the ground, and you're limiting your level of success. So
yes,
I think the message here is being yourself, right? And then
yes.
work on changing your perception as you go through the process,
Mhm.
and just honoring the process. I think
Yeah,
it's
and
the,
supporting everybody. Kindness and compassion, not greed, would
yeah,
change everything if we did it that way.
100%. I do agree. So thank you again so much for being here. I'm also excited to share
Thank
also your generous gift with just the free 28-day shift to wealth book,
you.
with
Mhm.
also, if you sign up for the book, you will also be informed with a discount code for Becca's newest course, which is the Accepting Abundance online course that's going to be coming out very, very soon. So you actually are getting two amazing gifts. So please get on her email list. You can be enrolled into it with the website URL is www.beccalewis.com/dd-kai. So that's where you can get the free book and eventually be opted to be honored
Yeah,
discount to the course.
I'm working on it.
Yes, yay. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
thank you again for being who you are, being generous with your time,
Uh,
and paying it forward and staying in contribution for all of us. We really truly appreciate your
I
presence
appreciate
today.
you too. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.